London is located about 4,400 miles northeast from the east coast of Florida, across the Atlantic Ocean. London is on Greenwich Mean Time, which is 5 time zones or 5 hours ahead of us. The capital city of England, London, is one of the oldest cities in the world with settlements that date back to 2,000 years. England is a part of the United Kingdom, which includes 4 countries. 3 are on the island of Great Britain, England and its 2 neighboring countries, Wales to the west and Scotland to the north, and the 4th country is Northern Ireland across the Irish Sea. The United Kingdom is a constitutional monarchy. That means they have a monarch, a king or queen, but the monarch's powers are restricted by the Constitution. Their government, the Parliament of the United Kingdom, is made up of 2 representative houses, the upper house, the House of Lords, and the lower house, the House of Commons, and led by the Prime Minister. England wasn't always a constitutional monarchy. It has a long history of absolute monarchy, where the king or queen had absolute power over the people. And the British Empire once ruled over 1/5 of the entire world's population, including the original 13 colonies of the USA. Join me as I take you on a brief tour of some of England's most famous places and landmarks. This is Westminster Abbey, built by Edward the Confessor in 1036. Westminster Abbey is located in central London, close to the River Thames and directly across from the Palace of Westminster, the Houses of Parliament. All coronations of England's monarchs since 1066 have taken place at Westminster Abbey, in addition to over 16 royal weddings and many famous funerals. In the center of Trafalgar Square is a very tall, column-shaped monument that was completed in 1843 and is guarded by 4 large bronze lions. On top is a statue of Lord Horatio Nelson, who died in 1805 at the Battle of Trafalgar Square during the Napoleonic Wars. Okay, so here at Lord Nelson's column, you'll see that the lions are facing away from it, guarding it. Later at Cleopatra's Needle, you'll see that they are faced the opposite direction when they're supposed to be guarding it. This is Admiralty Arch, the entrance to Buckingham Palace. Only the Queen can use the middle lane. The archway is located in the center of London at Trafalgar Square and acts as the gateway to Buckingham Palace. It was commissioned by King Edward VII to commemorate his mother, Queen Victoria, but he did not live long enough to see it completed in 1912. This is Buckingham Palace, the Queen's residence in London. As you can see, the Union Jack is being flown right now because the Queen is not in residence at this time. Whenever she is in residence, her royal standard flag will be flown. Buckingham Palace is located in the heart of London, the city of Westminster. It is the official residence of the reigning monarch of the United Kingdom. It was originally a large townhouse called Buckingham House, built for the Duke of Buckingham in 1703. The first British monarch to use it as an official London residence was Queen Victoria in 1837, after the palace was enlarged. This is the Golden State Carriage. It was first used in 1762 by George III. It has been used for every monarch's coronation ever since. This is Kensington Palace. This is where Queen Victoria was born and lived until she became queen 2 days after her 18th birthday. Behind me, you'll see Big Ben, which is actually the bell inside of the Queen's Tower. This is Parliament, the United Kingdom's government. It is represented by 2 houses, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. St. Paul's Cathedral. It was built in 1710 and survived the Blitz in World War II. This building was the tallest building in London up until 1962. The dome is one of the highest domes in the world. This cathedral is another one of London's most recognized sights. The 365 feet tall building dominated the London skyline for 300 years. It was the tallest building until 1962. Today, the dome is still one of the highest in the world. Many famous occasions were held at St. Paul's Cathedral, including Jubilee celebrations for Queen Victoria, the funeral of Lord Nelson and the wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Although it's named after Cleopatra today, the ancient obelisk was already over 1,000 years old before she became Queen of Egypt. The needle was presented by the ruler of Egypt to commemorate Lord Nelson's victories. Unlike Nelson's column, here the lions are facing toward the monument instead of guarding it. Queen Victoria thought the lions looked better facing inwards when it was placed on the bank of the River Thames near the Embankment Underground Station in 1878. This is the Tower of London. It's located on the River Thames and was built in 1077 by William the Conqueror. It was a historical residence and grand palace. It was also used as a prison until 1952. The Tower of London, officially titled Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London, has been an important part of England's history. The Tower of London is a historic castle located on the north side of the River Thames, just east of the city of London. It was founded towards the end of 1066 during the Norman Conquest. It gets its name from the White Tower in the middle of the castle built by William the Conqueror in 1078. This is Tower Bridge. It's one of London's most recognizable landmarks. Footsteps from the Tower of London is Tower Bridge, one of England's most recognizable landmarks. The bridge was built between 1886 and 1894 and crosses the River Thames. Many people confuse Tower Bridge with London Bridge, which is the next bridge down the river, a simple concrete pedestrian and traffic bridge. We are in Stratford-upon-Avon. Behind me is the birthplace of William Shakespeare, one of the greatest writers in the English language. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 in a town called Stratford-upon-Avon, about 100 miles northwest of London, in a 16th century half-timbered house, which is still located on Henley Street, now open to the public as a small museum. Behind me is Stonehenge, prehistoric standing stones, dated from 3000 to 2000 BC. Located about 90 miles southwest of London, Stonehenge is a ring of prehistoric standing stones that archaeologists think were constructed up to 5,000 years ago. Human bones dating back to 3000 BCE were found, which leads archaeologists to believe it was used as a burial ground for at least 500 years. London has a long, rich history that has shaped much of the world that we know today. I really enjoyed visiting and experiencing its culture, its history, and its people. I hope you've enjoyed this brief tour of London, England.